there, and welcome to the JobStreet Quality Connections podcast, where we share advice from top employers to help guide you on your job hunting journey. I'm Anita Wu, and I've had several jobs from publishing to broadcasting, and I'm here to find out what employers are really looking for in the people they hire. In this episode, we're excited to have Arpan Sur of Mondeléz International, Head of Marketing, Malaysia and Singapore, to have a little chat with us.
Hi, Anita. Look forward to the connect.
Hi, Arpan. Very happy to have you on board. So I understand that you've been with Mondeléz International for more than 14 years now, or at least, as you said, in different variations of the company, starting off in India. Is that right?
More than that, actually, 17 years plus. But as I keep thinking, the days have been long, but the years have gone fast.
Yeah. That's so true. And I think somehow or rather that feels even more relevant in a pandemic.
Don't talk about it. Yeah, time just flies during a pandemic, isn't it? Long days. But yeah, I hope that we come out of the pandemic situation. All of us are adapting to it.
Yes.
Fingers crossed we get out of this slightly challenging situation externally soon.
Can you tell us as well what your company values are? And I'm wondering as well, in terms of Mondeléz International and in your position as marketing head, what you're looking for in candidates. Should they resonate in some way with your company values?
Sure. See, firstly, Mondeléz internationally is like a global snacking powerhouse. And we believe, in empowering people to snack right. We have a very huge portfolio of snack and presence in multiple snacking categories globally. Even in Malaysia, Singapore, we, are present across multiple segments: biscuits, chocolates, mints, beverage, meals like cheese, etc. So what we want is, we want to empower people, give them options to snack, and we want this by having a growth mindset. And our strength is our people and our brands, right? And we want to leverage that. And in terms of what we really consider important is inclusivity. We want, to have an inclusive culture. We have a very diverse team, hence. And we want people to be courageous, not doing things which are very safe, but, just raising the bar, trying a little bit too hard, because there's so many things happening now. If you are not courageous, it'll be too safe and wallpaper, and people will just not notice what you're doing.
In that sense, you are basically saying that when you hire, you are looking for, how do you pinpoint this? Like from for example, just from a CV and then to the interviewing process, how do you get the sense that someone's the right fit for your team or the job?
I think for every role, what we try and gauge is sort of a role fit. What are the requirements for the role, and how will the candidate fit? Like I was mentioning, as an organization, we have an organization culture, but we also, value diversity a lot. So we are open to different types of candidates. What I look at at a very distinct level is I try and gauge the judgment, drive, and influence of the candidate through the interview process, and also try and gauge how eager he or she is to get the role. So like I was mentioning, I head marketing for Malaysia and Singapore. So Malaysia, Singapore, we are a cluster. We are a part of the Southeast Asia business unit. So I had marketing for Malaysia, Singapore in Mondeléz, and I have a total of a 12-member team. So I had overall snacking all categories. And then, the teams are structured by categories. So there's a biscuits and snacks team, there's a chocolates team, and then there's a gum, beverage, and meals team. And then so I have 5 direct reports and a total team of 12. A diverse team and quite a young team who, has a growth mindset and looks to do things differently.
Have you ever had to hustle for a role? I'm curious about whether, and in certain movements within the corporate ladder and in your rise to where you are, have you ever gunned a certain position? How, and how did you position yourself to that? Do you have any tips on basically, sometimes you don't have a choice. They just put you there. So yeah, tell us a bit more about how you got to where you are.
Interesting and a great question. So first, let me be a bit provocative. I think it's a mistake and sort of a misnomer that the company, makes your career. I think individuals make their career, and you need to decide what you want to be. Yeah. Obviously, the company helps you, but first you need to decide. So I think the first point is taking charge of my own career, and that has helped me. Just to give you a perspective, I'm spending my 18th year in Mondeléz, though I joined in India when it was Cadbury, and then Cadbury became Kraft, became Mondeléz. So while working for one company, I've almost had an experience of working for 3 companies. I've done 12 roles in 17 years and across multiple functions. So largely marketing, but I've done 3 roles in sales also, and multi-category in marketing. So as I head marketing overall now, but I've worked in all the subcategories that Mondeléz operates in: gum and candy, chocolates, biscuits, and now overall marketing. I've worked for 12 years in India, 3 years in a Asia Pacific role, and now 3 years in Southeast Asia. So diverse set of experience. The point I wanted to highlight is, firstly, you have to take charge of your career, and you need to build capability, keeping your future aspirations in mind, right? So it's not like it will come to me. I need to plan where I want to be and develop some capability in me so that I can be a good fit there. And I've always used my bosses or mentors to sort of help put almost like a mirror to me and also guide me on where I can go to, I think that's extremely important. Secondly, I think what I was mentioning, I almost think of a career as career is like of 2 halves. I almost see it as, you spend almost 40 years of your life working, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, maybe 35, maybe even a little more after retirement. Some people do. I feel the first 20 years is where you build a foundation. And to build a foundation, you should have different types of experiences. The more diverse your experiences are, you learn more, right? So I've spent, like I said, 18 years now, 17, 18 years, and I have 12 different roles. So I have a lot of experience, diverse experiences. So it's helped me become a more holistic leader. So now then I can decide what I want to do in the last 20 years or 25 years of my career, because having done a width of things. So I think be open to different types of roles also, and create a vision of where you want to, and take help from leaders and mentors and bosses to sort of coach you and guide you on building capability to get there.
That's very, very great advice. And that's also empowering. I think a lot of people, especially in these times when you're looking for a job, and sometimes you feel, do I have the right fit? And I think that's what is on a lot of people's minds. It's sometimes there are certain qualifications that are prerequisite. Other aspects to a candidate applying for a job that you would consider being, say, for example, if it's missing on the CV, but you think is able to train, like what are some of these things that you think is more important or could be considered for a job candidate in their favor?
So firstly, as I said, there are, for every role, there is a role fit. But then there is something which is like unwritten, which is what is the, the personal aspect basically. What's the mindset of the candidate? Is the candidate someone who's ready to learn, or at times even unlearn and relearn? Because the environment is changing so much that what you did in the past may not get you success if you keep doing the same thing in the future also. Because I'm just giving, in marketing, we see the boom of digital, right? E-commerce, or even, the way traditional media advertising was is very different now, and a lot of investments have moved towards digital. Now, the digital space is interesting because everything changes, I think, not every day, but every week and every month. It's not movement by year, but movement by month. And People need to learn a bit more new skills, be open to learning new things, be open to ditch what they were doing in the past. So the ability to learn, grasp fast, to adapt, having the right mindset, working with others. How well you collaborate with others, because we have sort of a network organization, right? You can't do everything on your own. So you have to leverage partnerships, be it externally, the creative agency, media agency, or internally, the sales team, the insights team in marketing. You need to work with others. So you need to have a point of view, but work with others. How can you get work done with others? These become important aspects that we check. At the same time, we don't want to be too fixated saying we want a specific profile of candidates, because we value diversity. And just giving you an example, I'm part of the Malaysia Singapore leadership team. In our leadership team, there are people of 6 nationalities. And in our marketing team also, it's a very diverse team. There are obviously Malays, Chinese, Indians, and even people from other countries like UK, etc. So it's a very diverse team, because we feel different people bring different strengths on the table, have different perspectives, and that makes the output stronger.
Absolutely. And also the market is becoming increasingly global. So in order to keep up, I fully back that up. Can you also just share with us your favorite thing about managing a team, and also how you curate members of your team?
First thing is, I love developing people and seeing them grow. So finally, I am leading a function, but I am basically a sum of the parts. Of all the people that they do, the work that they do, they make me look good. I'm not doing the work, I'm just leading them, right? So unless I actually develop them, make them more capable, I'm not doing my job. And I really love spending time with people and working individually with them to make them more capable. The second thing is creating a vision and stretching them to do what has not been done before. So making them capable, but also stretching them to just not do the mundane stuff day in, day out, but what can I do sort of so that things, move and we get and create a legacy. So it's a bit of both. And I love spending time individually with people. And we have a few templates and structures in Mondeléz which help that. Like we have what we currently call a succession planning process and a talent format. For every candidate, we basically, sort of jot down what the candidate has done in the past. And then the candidate individually thinks of what roles he or she wants to do in the short term next, in like the next 2-3 years, and in the next 5-7 years. And then we plot what the strengths are and the development areas are. And then we almost try and say, if you want to go from A to B, what are the capabilities you need to build? And it's a conversation then with the line manager. Let's say I'm having that conversation with my team member saying, okay, you want to go to a role B. In order to get to a role B, you want to develop this capability. Now, how can I help you? Is there a stretch project you want to do which will help you gauge? Is there a training that you can get? Is there a mentor who can help you with conversations because he or she has done something similar in the past? So multiple ways, but sort of aligning the expectations of the candidate and giving them the right support so that, they get there. And sometimes it even means that candidate has a misplaced opinion of his or her performance or potential. And then also having that conversation saying, oh, look, you think you can get there, but I don't think you can get there with current level. Then you need to build this capability. So it becomes a very input-output sort of a conversation, which is very logical, and it's not practical. Because it's practical also in the sense, everyone wants to grow in the career, but I have a simple advice for all of them. Think of your capability chase your capability. If you chase capability, your promotions will happen. People chase promotions. They don't want to up their capability, and that's where they get stuck. So you continue to build your capability. You then don't need to worry about the promotions and career growth. It will happen on its own.
Arpan, can you tell us, as you were coming up in your career, maybe you could share what were some of the mistakes that you had made and what you learned from that?
I think one of the reflections is in our organizations, in our meetings, etc. I think it's extremely important to be crisp and to the point. And I think one of the, again, reflections is towards the beginning of the career, and I think that's true for most people, you're not as clear and structured. So you can be very verbose, right? And I think at the beginning of the career, I was like that a bit. So I was a bit verbose and sort of relating an experience from my early marketing days. When I was in India, we used to have these brand plan meetings where typically the entire team would get together and you would present a review of how your brand performance has been and forward plans to the directors. So you're presenting to the sort of the senior board members, and it's a really important twice a year sort of an activity. And you get like a half an hour slot to do your show tell, right? So I got sort of a graveyard slot, which was the slot after lunch, which anyways is difficult because you can't hold attention. People would have had, after a long first half, sort of a lot of food, and they're sort of trying to sort of again get back and switch on.
A little bit comatose, yes. That is definitely the graveyard slot.
So I had that slot, and after I presented, there was a question on a specific brand and how it was doing. I went like on a monologue for, I think, 10 minutes. I kept talking and I kept talking, and I was doing it with full passion, thinking that, I'm answering the question. But people basically after lunch had sort of switched off. What it did was, and it sort of just went, I don't know, like some of them may have dozed off also. But at the end of the answering session, etc., I didn't get any questions also. So typically it would be a back and forth. You will answer and people will question back and stuff. And I realized, I had sort of maybe lost interest, etc. But, after that, and this was very early in my career, I think just in my first marketing role more than 10 years back. And post that, I made it a point to, and it's something that I hold very true, and I try to sort of talk about that a bit more, is I feel that all of us, and I'm in marketing, right? So I'm giving you sort of a marketeer's view. I almost think of each candidate as a brand, and how can they do their own storytelling in an interesting way, which holds attention and can, set you apart from the crowd. So if I'm in a meeting also, how can I be crisp so that I say things in 3 to 5 lines and not take like an hour? And the same goes for a candidate in an interview. So if I'm seeing a candidate in an interview, it's answering question is okay, but how can he or she be interesting so that I remember that candidate for something he says or she says. So for me, for example, I try using sense of humor at times to sort of, the same thing, if you say it in a different way with a bit of humor, that style works for me. But everyone can define their own style, but basically do things in an interesting way, in a crisp way, so that the other people remember the key points and don't lose you in the full details. Yeah.
That's a fantastic tip, Arpan. Thank you so much for that. What would you say is one of the most challenging aspects about running a team? And tell us about what you've learned from that.
Yeah, so I would probably reference it to at my level, because on managing a team at different levels, the challenges may be different. But at my level, I think it's getting the right balance between adapting for today, especially today is so chaotic because of COVID pandemic. Everything changes every day, so you need to be very, very adaptive so that you are doing things for today and trying to maximize today. But while you do that, you also want to build for tomorrow, right? Because if you keep doing what you're doing now, you will possibly get stuck and growth won't come in the future. So getting that balance between today and tomorrow and giving direction to the team so that they don't do more of either is, I think, really important here.
Yes, I think it's a different skill set altogether. As you said, the challenges change as we go along. And a VUCA situation. Everyone seems to be going on about VUCA for a while now, and I think that was before the pandemic, and then the pandemic happened. So thank you for those tips. Can you share with us what advice you would give to those who are just starting out their career, and also for those who are further along in theirs?
Yeah, sure. So, firstly, I think a general advice would be people who are considering a new job to not just look at the pay package. Because I think very often primarily I see a lot of candidates doing it. It's important, but not the sole factor in you choosing the role. Yeah. And why I say it is, you should look at a job as something which will make you, wake up on a Monday morning to go for work. So I have this quote which I love, and I often, use it. It says, doing what you like is freedom, but liking what you do is happiness. So you should love what you do. So I've spent 17 years in Mondeléz, but I've thought like the time just flew because I had so much of fun along the way. It seemed less of work and more of fun as I sort of went through that journey. So it's important, hence to look at the overall package, and also to think of how you keep building your career and through capability building, as I said, not to chase promotions, but chase capability, and promotions will happen along the way. So I think that's for the people who are sort of at middle level managers, etc. For entry level people, I think be open. You are like probably at a stage of the career where you want to soak in as much of experience as possible, but at the same time, I think try and be a bit clear on what type of things you want to do. Sometimes they are also there's so many advices coming at that early stage of career that people do and follow different things from different people, and they're not clear. So I think it's important for you to gauge what you like and try different things in that subsegment. Be open to new experiences. New people are also, they can learn much faster than more experience.
I think there's an advantage to youth. That's definitely one of the advantages of youth, that there's more time, there's more opportunities for learning and making mistakes as well.
Yeah. And the last thing I would say is for the young candidates, is whether it's for an interview or in a workplace, is don't hold back thinking that I am new. So there are other seniors in the room. So what value can I bring? So let me stay quiet. I think that's a mistake people normally make. Great ideas can come from anywhere, including junior members. In fact, junior members can bring better ideas in emerging fields like digital, etc. So don't hold yourself back. Mondeléz itself as an organization, the people are very approachable. So we encourage people. We don't follow hierarchy. People can reach out 2-3 levels. So a very junior level of marketing person who has 2 levels or 3 levels between him or her and me can reach out to me if they have an idea or if they are having an issue. So be open. Don't hold yourself back, and the world is your oyster.
And any advice for those who are coming in more senior levels of management or positions?
Yeah, in senior levels, I think specifically think of how you would lead a team, inspire them, because you're not doing the work, you are sort of inspiring them. How you would develop the team. Develop the team in the sense, actually spend more time in the person, the capability building of the person. The best news for a boss is, or for a leader is, when he or she is redundant, because the team can do the work for him or her. Yeah, so that's that. I tell my team that I want to be redundant so that when I go on leave, no one misses me, because you all can manage in and fill in for me. That means that I can go to the next role. But yeah, so to sort of work and build on their capability, and what I mentioned before, which is manage efficiently the pressures of today and the challenges of today, but equally set your eyes on the future so that you can grow 5 years, 10 years down the line. Don't just keep doing today's work without focusing on the future. So getting that balance right is also important.
Thank you so much, Arpan, for your time today. It's been a wonderful chat. I hope you had fun as well in sharing some of your advice and of yourself.
So thanks to you also, Anita, and the team. It was wonderful sharing some of my experiences and tips, which would hopefully be a bit more helpful to people looking out and seeking to build career. I've myself benefited from a few of these types of talks when I was early in my career, and I hope I'm able to contribute and help others in a similar sort of stage of their journey. So thanks to all of you for setting this up, and all the best to everyone. Thank you, and take care and stay safe.
Thanks for listening to the JobStreet Quality Connections podcast. And don't forget to check out the other episodes. While you're at it, also download the JobStreet app for the easiest and fastest way to search for the most jobs.